End Times 777 2013.
Well, shalom. I'm going to start by going through the star signs, which we read about there to speak of the Messiah. The birth of the Messiah, when Jupiter was in the star sign Leo, and the main star in Leo is called Regulus. It means the king. So Hasidic is also another name for what they call Jupiter in Hebrew. So this was the sign conjuncting with the new moon when Yeshua was born. This apparently was the sign that the Magi, the wise men, saw during Yeshua's time. But if we look at it again, in the second advent of Christ, then it means the lion and the coming king of Judah. And we'll look at some of the recent star signs in that conjunction. But the signs themselves speak of the birth of Yeshua and in fact the whole redemption of mankind, which actually starts in Arcturus, which is in the star sign Virgo, which is describing Mary the Virgin. So we'll start there and we'll go through what's called the hypostatic union, which obviously is about man getting the presence of the Lord, or Emmanuel, back into our lives, which we lost in Eden. Now you can see that the star signs also correlate to a tribe of Israel, which you can see in this chart. Obviously recommend that you go full screen so you can study this for yourself. But we see also the signs of the cherubim, which are mentioned in the 4 chief tribes of Israel, which is in Dan, Reuben, Ephraim and Judah. But let's go to Virgo, where we start off, where God started off his illustration in the heavens about the redemption plan of mankind. Virgo is the virgin, the story of the virgin birth of Yeshua the Messiah as the promised Redeemer, as mentioned in various scriptures. But as I'll put the scripture up on screen that we see in Isaiah, which is hotly debated among, of course, the Jewish people today. The second sign is Libra, the scales, which is speaking about the judgment on the cross, that Jesus paid for our sin and satisfied the justice of God. Okay, so all the sins in the world are paid for by Jesus Christ, and if you are a human being, if you're not a Nephilim or a fallen angel, you have a chance of redemption by confessing your sin, and that Jesus, or Yeshua, using his Hebrew name, is Messiah, and you'll be accepted into the Mishpocha, the family of God. The third sign we see is called Scorpius. Now these are the main signs, of course. There are 12 main signs, but we'll go into a little bit deeper detail later, where we see actually 3 signs for each of those. So in fact in total is 36. Links are below. But the scorpion, of course, speaks about Satan. Now Ophiuchus is one of these other constellations, which has his foot on Scorpius and is actually wrestling with the serpent. And this is very much an end time sign that is spoken of in movies, exactly in movies such as Clash of the Titans, because what we see there, seeing the bride is actually chained, and then the hero comes on the white horse in the heavens, which is speaking about Jesus Christ, and also it speaks about what Christ did on the cross, because the sting of death no longer has power over him, and he has the keys of death and Hades and hell. Okay, next we have Sagittarius, which is the archer, and it's about the Redeemer's victory over Satan. Sagittarius constellation, we also find the serpent, which we'll again look at later. Capricornus, the goat, the sin offering of Jesus Christ, which provided unlimited atonement for the sins of the world and propitiation of God the Father. So this is actually speaking of the Day of Atonement, which 2 goats are selected. One is slaughtered and the other one is driven out. It's called the scapegoat. So you can decide which is which. Was Jesus the one that was slaughtered and killed? And is it Satan or Azazel who is called the scapegoat He is the one whom all the sins of the world will be laid upon in the end, and he'll be thrown into the lake of fire. He is the scapegoat, as Ezekiel is the scapegoat, which happens at the end, the second coming. Aquarius, the next one is the waterman, spoken of the tribe of Reuben. Showers of blessing from heaven from the good news of salvation through faith in Christ. It could also be speaking about the baptism, pouring out the water. But the age of Aquarius again speaks of the second advent of Christ. But this star sign is prominent in the sky round about the time of Passover, which so actually speaks of the Son of Man himself. The next one we have is Pisces, which is the two fish, one pointing towards the pole star, which is the North Star, and the other towards the ecliptic, symbolizing a priest interceding for the believer, and foreshadow of Jesus Christ, the high priest of the church. We know that Yeshua is the high priest in heaven, who basically his death atoned for us, and he lives as the high priest to make intercession for us. The fish on the cord symbolizes the positional sanctification and eternal security of the believer bound to Christ. Okay, that ends the first advent. Now we have the second advent, which is to do with the resurrection body. And the first one we have is the Aries, the ram. Christ as the conqueror, commander-in-chief with the resurrected church in heaven during the 7-year, some people say 3.5 year, tribulation. We know there's going to be a period of time on earth for at least 3.5 years to 7 years where there will only be perhaps the two witnesses left on the earth, but really I don't think any of us have got it all together, because I guess if Jesus told us everything, then it would uncover his plans to Satan. But we know that the church is going to be with the Messiah as the bride of Christ, and I believe as this witness here spoke, she seems to be getting a lot of dreams and visions about Jesus Christ, and the marriage ketubah was presented before her, and this could be Yeshua indeed going round his true bride now and saying, yes, you're now invited to the marriage supper of the Lamb, and you're now going to be the bride and return with me to the earth to reign and rule for 1,000 years. So yes, this is the first star sign that symbolises the second advent of Christ. And then we have Taurus the bull. The Redeemer will return at the second advent to conquer and rule the earth. The tribe of Ephraim is linked with this, and strength. So it's like the outcasts, the lost of Israel. Another name for Ephraim means the fruit of the nations. So basically it says that all the tribes will be gathered up and will be one stick in Joseph's hand. That's also mentioned in the book of Ezekiel. So means that all of Israel and Judah will be together as one man, and will stand with Yeshua. It says this also in the book of Zechariah 14, where Yeshua returns to the Mount of Olives. Next we have Gemini the twins, which is the story of Esau's attack on Jacob expanded into the tribulation when Israel's enemy seeks to destroy it. Now this could be led by a group of nations from the east, most probably Russia and China. Some say Gog and Magog. So this is linked with Esau. Esau means red man. So they are men, as far as we know, unless they have been genetically modified during the tribulation by the fallen angels. The next one we have is Cancer, the crab. Eternal security. It says, in Adam all die, even so by agency of Christ shall all be made alive, which is written in 1 Corinthians 15:22. And finally, we have Leo the lion, which obviously is talking about Jesus Christ, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, who returns to rule with the saints in the millennium. You can read this in the book of Daniel. If you read the start of the book of Daniel chapter 12, it talks about also the saints returning with Christ. I'll put the scriptures up on the screen for that. And as we mentioned before, Satan the devil and his fallen angels will be cast in to the lake of fire. That will be the final judgment against these beings, until in fact they are released for a short time after the 1,000 years. So there we have it. the hypostatic union, and the resurrection body, which is the marriage body, where we are the church. And the rest of Israel, in fact, the tribes of Israel are mentioned in the book of Revelation. They're actually one with Messiah, and they are the true Israel. The name Israel actually has a meaning in Hebrew. It means to strive with God and to overcome with God. So it's God that helps us to overcome the world, as Christ says. Don't fret or stress. Take heart, because I have overcome the world. I hope you've enjoyed this short study. We're going to just look at a few more things now to do with the Star Gospel. So if you're interested, you can read on, you can watch on, and I will leave all the links below. 2 videos that I previously did about the 12 tribes. If you're interested in that, I'll put both links below, and where I got some of this information from. If you're also interested in handing out tracts, I do provide tracts that you might want to hand out, because we're in. I've told all the people that are in my organisation to hand out a certain tract. Is to do with the coming of the fallen angels and the mark of the beast. So if you're interested in handing that tract out to people, then let me know. I just want to take this opportunity to thank everybody in the YouTube community for allowing me to do videos with them. I've featured a number of YouTubers over the years in my videos, just to get the point across, because of course you make some great videos, guys, and you know who you are. But I know that the body's been going through some terrible trials and rough times. There's always a seed of bitterness that Satan tries to sow in our lives. Sometimes it can be racism, or it can be any kind of difference that Satan wants to do. But as long as we keep loving him, then he keeps pouring out his love on us, so that it makes us able to keep loving each other. And that's very, very important. It's not all about, as I've said before, who's right or wrong with pronunciation issues, and a lot of ministries are just based on that they have the correct Sabbath, that they have the correct way to pronounce the name of God. Never my ministry's been about this. If I've come under attack, I've defended my beliefs, but I've gone over all this before. But generally, I just want to thank the YouTube community for supporting me, as well, recently. And I hope also you've felt my support, you've had my prayers. But I just feel now that, the time is coming that generally we won't be able to use the internet so much. And I think this ministry online will now wind down. It's been about since the year 2000, and around about 2001. I put my website up. I put the prophecies up about September the 11th. They did happen. A number of people know this, that I did this, and that they've been correct prophecies. And the Lord has been giving me correct prophecies since I've been born again, back in 1995. And since I received the Spirit of the Lord, since I became a Christian, when I was a teenager, he even showed me prophetic dreams and visions. But it's not all about that. It's all about really the fruit of the Spirit. It's the most important thing. And I want you to really focus on that in these days, because at the end of the day, we just see through a glass darkly. And we know that Christ is coming, and when he comes, that's it. It's really generally the end of prophecy as we know it, and we know the rest. It's a formality then, but it's about the fruit of the Spirit. That's the most important thing that the Lord requires of his people, to love him, to love each other, and not least of all, to love ourselves. A lot of people like to bash people or bring people down. We've always got to remember, we've got to spend a private time in prayer with the Lord, and that's the times that I've received strength. And I know that's the case with yourselves. Don't always look to other Christians to encourage you, but you need to get into your prayer closet sometimes. And certainly the days that we're going to face now, I feel that I'm not getting enough views and general support on YouTube to carry on this ministry. But as I say, it's winding down. If you want to contact me, then yes, I'll leave my email at the end of this video. And I hope you've enjoyed my studies. You can go over to King Yahweh. You can see some of these songs that I've recently did on there. Also did an album when I was in Africa a couple of years ago. I'll try to put that album up as well for you. and the Ghanaians obviously as well to look at. So may the Lord bless you all and keep you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. And may you receive, and may you live, and may you share in his shalom.